Yeah, so maybe you have ever noticed it, right? Like some men seem to effortlessly draw in women while others get stuck in the friend zone and don't even play the game. So what's the difference? Well, it's not just looks or it's not just luck. Yeah, it's understanding emotions. It's what I call emotional intelligence. Yeah, it's understanding the stages, the emotional stages of attraction and knowing how to dance with a woman and dance her through or lead her through each of the emotional stages, step by step. And in this training, you're going to discover the 11 key emotion sets, yes, sets of emotions that trigger that deep attraction. Yeah, so that you can focus on creating that real chemistry and that real connection every single time, yeah, and especially with the woman that you really desire, the woman of your dreams. You're going to learn the psychology behind each of these steps of attraction, the emotion sets, and we're going to go from sparking that first curiosity to building deep connection to excitement. Yeah, and for every step, you'll get some clear strategies and a few actionable examples that you can use right away. Yeah, so by the end of this, I wanted to say training, but it's going to be a master class. So by the end of this master class, you're going to know exactly how to move a woman, for an example, the lady that you're dating, from just curious to I want him and I want him bad. Yeah. So my name is Rink. It's the most Dutch name that you ever heard. And since 2009, I'm teaching the psychology of attraction and helping men transform their dating lives and social lives by teaching them the science and the art of attraction as back then I understood it and as right now I understand it. So if you want to go beyond surface level tips and actually master the real process that makes women feel drawn to you, this training is for you. But first, let me introduce you to Alex. Yeah, Alex was always the nice guy. He was very friendly and he was funny even, yeah, but he never was the one that women actually chased. Yeah, he would get stuck in endless conversations that went nowhere and was, there were nice conversations, but after learning these stages of attraction and how to trigger them, Alex's results changed. They didn't change overnight. It took a little bit of time. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the quick fix. You're going to have to put in some effort. But like Alex, he learned to spark curiosity. He learned what it took from him to build that passionate tension. He learned how to communicate in a way that created excitement. Yeah, so he went from having nice conversations to becoming a guy that the women were actually interested in and actually wanted to invest in. Yeah, so the women that he started dating became invested. And if you've ever felt like Alex, this training or this master class is going to show you how to flip the script. And the first emotion set that you want to spark is curiosity. Yeah, let me just... I don't know how to write anymore. It says curiosity. And it's the first spark that will lead to attraction. Yeah, it's that moment when a woman notices something about you that stands out, making her to want to know you more. And in evolutionary terms, curiosity is a survival mechanism. Yes, our ancestors needed to be curious about new people and new situations to assess potential threats or opportunities. And for women, curiosity is about a man that signals that he might possess unique qualities or unique resources that could be valuable. So when a man presents himself, for an example, as mysterious or slightly out of reach, it activates a woman's natural drive to investigate and to understand what that is. Yeah, she becomes curious. And this is why, for an example, behaviors like peacocking, yeah, wearing something different, wearing something interesting, or you displaying or communicating social value, or communicating that you have leadership qualities in a social group. That's why these things are so effective, because they create an open loop in her mind, and now she wants to know what it is that makes you different from all the other guys that she's been dating or that she's been meeting. Yeah, so from an evolutionary psychology perspective, women have always had to be selective, right? Selective in choosing mates. So since their reproductive investment is higher than ours. Now curiosity, yeah, that emotional spark that she feels that makes her curious and wants to then learn more about you, is a way to filter out the ordinary and to focus her attention and energy on someone who might actually offer something special. Whether it's genetics, yeah, fitness, or social status, or a unique set of skills, when you are able to trigger curiosity, you are signaling that you might potentially be a valuable mate, that you are potentially a guy that's interested or interesting enough for her to want to investigate, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's what you want to spark. So curiosity is attractive because it promises the possibility of discovery. Yeah, so when a woman feels curious about you, she's already investing mental energy in you. And this is the first step towards a deeper connection. Yeah, so when guys ask me, for an example, she didn't feel a click, one of the first questions that I ask them is, what did the conversation, what was the conversation between the two of you about? And it's usually always the who, what, where questions that are being asked. So then I tell them, look, you were trying to make friends, but you weren't interesting in the first place. You were not interesting enough for her to want to investigate more. Yeah, so one of the things that you can do, instead of trying to make a connection by asking niceties and just asking questions to try and make friends, that's basically what you're doing. Think about, what can I communicate that makes me interesting? Yeah, and then we'll do that next time. Yeah, I'm going to give a masterclass about that. We're going to do a masterclass about the demonstrations of higher value that you can communicate that will actually make you interesting. Yeah, but interesting is super important. Yeah, you want to make her curious. And to trigger curiosity, you need to present yourself as someone who has layers. Yeah, someone who isn't immediately obvious or easy to categorize. For an example, yeah, so this can be done through your appearance, how you look, your behavior, how you behave, or the way that you interact with others. Yeah, so for an example, wearing something that makes you stand out, like a unique accessory or a bold color. Yeah, that can make other people wonder about you, your story. Like, what is it about him? Similarly, being the center of attention in a social group or showing that others value your presence, that is also a very clear signal. Yeah, that will also make her want to know you and what it is that makes you special. What more? What other things can you do? Another way to spark curiosity is through your conversation openers. Yeah, instead of starting with generic questions, use statements. Or use questions that hint at a story or at a secret. So, for an example, I just noticed something interesting about this place. Take one wild guess what it is. For an example. Now, this creates an open loop. Yeah, and this is going to make her want to engage with you to find out more. Yeah, so what are the things that you're going to do? You're going to peacock. Yeah, you're going to wear something interesting, like a unique watch, or a unique medallion, or lapel pin. I'm not sure if that's the English word. Here in Holland, we call it a lapel pin, like a small pin that you put here. It could be some stone or a gem of some kind. Yeah, but something that makes you stand out a little bit more, because that makes you unique, and unique is interesting. Open a conversation with something interesting. Yeah, so, I just noticed something interesting about this place. And then you go into a story. Yeah, for an example. Another way is, and this is very important, interact confidently with your group, yeah, or with any group, so that you can communicate your value already, like your social skills, your communication skills, your charisma, so that she can see it. And because she notices how other people respond to you, react to you, that will raise a little bit of value right there and then. That's very important. Step 2. Intrigue. And intrigue is the deepening of curiosity. Curious is layer 1. Getting her intrigued, that's the next level. See, like the curiosity is the initial spark. Now, intrigue is what keeps her attention and makes her want to invest more time in you and in the interaction and in finding out more about you. Like, at first, he's kind of interesting. But intrigue is, I don't know what it is, but I want to know more. Yeah, that's intrigue. And intrigue is about being a little bit unusual, being about you being unique, or you being fascinating in a way that sets you apart from other guys, from other men. Yeah, it's the difference between being someone who's passing through, or the guy that seems like a puzzle that she wants to solve. And from an evolutionary standpoint, intrigue is rooted in the need to identify men, with rare or exceptional qualities. You have to see it like this. Throughout history, women have been drawn to men who display traits that are not only attractive, but are also rare, such as intelligence, such as creativity, such as social influence. It's very important, guys. I keep pounding on you. Like you have to get your ass into a social venue and build up your social skills and communication skills. Yeah, and understand social dynamics naturally. Because your social influence communicates a lot about who you are, and it will make people in general, interested in you. And intrigue signals that you might possess some hidden depths or some hidden resources that could be beneficial in a long-term partner. So when you demonstrate qualities that are new, that are unexpected, that are out of the ordinary, you will activate her brain's reward system. Yeah, she will feel a sense of excitement and a sense of anticipation. Just wondering what it is that she will be able to discover next. And this is why charisma is so important. This is why your charismatic delivery of when you're communicating, opposed to being dull and being bland, yeah, and speaking with enthusiasm and being a little bit artful. Yeah, that's why all of that is so powerful, because they make you memorable and hard to forget. Intrigue is attractive because it promises novelty, it promises adventure, and women are wired to seek out partners who can offer new experiences and who can keep life interesting. When you create intrigue, when you are able to do so, you are showing that you are not just another guy. Yeah, you're not part of the gray mass of many guys out there who, yeah, we here in Holland, I would say who taste like a Dutch tomato. You know, there's no scent, there's no taste. It's a tomato, but you know, it doesn't have body. It doesn't have flavor. And you don't want to show up as just another guy. You want to show up and be someone who's worth exploring. Now, to trigger intrigue, focus on sharing stories or ideas that are unusual or that are thought-provoking. So especially during dates, avoid the typical small talk. It's exactly what I said to the guy that I had a coaching session with this afternoon. Because that was literally why he planned the coaching session, because you know, his conversations were bland, were tasteless, and were typical small talk. Avoid those things. Instead, bring up topics that are dramatic, that are controversial, that are emotionally charged. Yeah, we call that chick crack. Bring up chick crack. Things that like tickle her emotions in the right way. And this could be anything from relationship debates, they do very well, to wild travel stories, for an example. Yeah, and then when you speak, when you talk with people in general, always deliver your stories with enthusiasm and with charisma. Yeah, use expressive gestures, a varied tone. Yeah, genuine excitement to draw people in, opposed to speaking in a monotonous way with no expression on your face, and how you would actually speak to one of your friends. Yeah, because now I'm communicating nothing, and the things that I'm saying are boring as fuck. And you don't want to be boring. You want to be exceptional. So you're going to have to develop these skills. Yeah, these are charisma skills, and they will make you a more interesting person. Yeah, and the more animated you are, the more passionate you are, the more people in general, yeah, not just her, but the people in general, they will feel compelled to listen and engage. Yeah, so for an example, what is a question that you can ask? Instead of what do you do for a living? What is your favorite music? What are your hobbies? Hey, I just had a conversation with a few of my friends today. It was about this. Do you think that men and women can ever really just be friends? What's your opinion on that? Now, that is a good question to ask. Yeah, or share a funny or surprising take. Yeah, and tell a story about a unique experience. Like, you know, now that you mentioned it, I once got lost in a foreign city, and I ended up in some weird place, and then I met some friends, and like, man, and this is why it's so important for you to experience life and get out of your bedroom, so that you can, again, experience life, so that you have some interesting things to talk about. Yeah? So that you can actually Be enthusiastic instead of act enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic about your life. Share your passions in an animated way. That can only be, you can only do that when you are sincerely passionate about the things that you experienced in life. Yeah, that's why I keep pounding and keep blasting out there. Get out your ass out of the bedroom and start living your life. Do something interesting. Yeah, so that you can actually be enthusiastic about the things that you have to say. Yeah. 3. The next emotion set that you want to elicit is tension. Tension is the edge. Tension is the edge that makes interactions exciting and unpredictable. It's the feeling of uncertainty mixed with anticipation. And it's a crucial ingredient in sexual attraction. Without tension, there will never be that magnetic pull to you. Yeah? And you want her, I assume, to feel that. You want her to feel more than than you being a nice guy. Yeah, you want to create some tension. And tension is created when there is a push-pull dynamic. So when you're not always available, when you tease a little, when you push away a little, when you challenge her in a playful way. We know from evolutionary psychology that tension is a way for her to test for emotional strength, not emotional vulnerability, emotional strength, confidence, resilience. And tension also serves as a filler, or a filter, for neediness. Because guys who are needy, guys who operate from a needy frame will never create tension. They're too afraid to do so. They're too afraid to push away because they're afraid to lose. They don't play to win, they play to not lose. And when you're able to create tension without immediately seeking to resolve it or without being afraid to lose, you automatically show that you are comfortable with uncertainty. That is attractive. That makes people charismatic. That makes people interesting. That makes, especially a man, an attractive man. If you are able to feel comfortable with uncertainty and that you don't need constant validation, that will signal, that will communicate high self-esteem and emotional stability. And those are traits that are highly valued in a mate. Yeah, that's what her brain is designed to look for. So don't be afraid to create tension. Don't be afraid to do a little bit of push-pull. It will actually make her feel excited but being with you. Otherwise, you're just boring. Another guy like any other guy. Yeah, and women, especially women, find tension super attractive because it keeps them emotionally engaged. It creates a sense of challenge, a sense of excitement, and it will make the interaction feel more like a passionate dance instead of, a transaction. Instead of, in Dutch we say sollicitatiegesprek. What is it in English? A talk that you have with a potential new employer. Yeah, you exchange some questions to try and get to know each other. It's boring. Yeah, it is really boring. When you master tension, you will become a man who at least makes her feel something. Yeah, when you master tension, just this thing, just tension alone, you will be able to make women feel the emotions that they are really happy to feel. Yeah, in a sea of nice guys that are not really living their life, and you know who she dates but doesn't feel the click with, she's going to be happy if you are able to create some tension. So how do you trigger it? To trigger tension, use playful teasing, use disqualifiers. Yeah, disqualifier a little bit here and there. Use a playful neg with this big smile on your face. Yeah. Push pull, moments of dominance. And tease her about something in a way that's light-hearted, yeah, but slightly challenging. Again, use push-pull tactics. Show interest, then pull back to make her work a little for your attention. That's how you create tension, yeah? And also by withdrawing your attention or introducing uncertainty. So for an example, after a fun challenge, turn your attention to someone else for a moment. This keeps her wanting more. Yeah, so some actionable steps. Tease her gently. You know, you seem cool, but I bet that you are secretly a terrible cook. For an example, you seem cool. Yeah, that's the warmth. But I bet you're secretly a terrible cook. That's the cold, yeah? So hot, cold. And it's a fun dynamic. It's not manipulation, it's flirting. This is flirting. And women love flirting. Yeah, or use a roll-off, for an example, after a fun exchange. And a roll-off is something you do with your body language. You step away for a second. Yeah, you talk with someone else, only to return back. Yeah, that's a roll-off. You're not really leaving. And this is what people in general, social people do, charismatic people, they talk to everyone. They're not focused on one person. Yeah, and playfully challenge her. You know, you seem like a cool person, but I'm pretty sure that you can't keep up with my dance moves. Hey, it is what it is. Do you actually have rhythm though? Really? Like, show me then. For an example, yeah, challenger. Emotion set number 4. Humor. This is so important, and especially in my short videos, I say this a lot. Don't take yourself so serious, because she's not taking you serious. The universe is not taking you serious. So lighten up a little bit. Don't take yourself too serious. Inject a little bit of humor into your system, because humor is the release of built-up tension. It's what makes interactions enjoyable and memorable. And it's a very powerful way to bond with people in general. And humor shows intelligence. Yeah, that's why it's so important. That's why it's an important trait to communicate, that you have a good sense of humor, a wide sense of humor. Again, it shows intelligence, it shows creativity. It communicates social awareness. These are all traits that are attractive from an evolutionary perspective, because in our evolutionary past, humor was a way to demonstrate mental agility and the ability to navigate complex social situations. A man who could make other people laugh was seen as more intelligent, more likable, more social, more emotionally aligned, and more likely to succeed in a group, in a social group. So for women, humor is a sign of genetic fitness and adaptability, which are important qualities to communicate. So when I sit with my girlfriend, for an example, and we look around and I see the The couples who have a date, I've rarely see the guy displaying humor. It's always too serious. It's always, so what do you do for a living? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm in IT. I'm an IT guy. Well, so, and what's your favorite music? Oh, well, I listen to Iron Maiden. Well, you know these, like inject a little bit of humor. It's so important because also humor serves as a stress reliever. Yeah, so inject humor early. When you meet a woman on a date or when you meet them somewhere, doesn't matter where, use humor fast, early. Because it signals that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you can handle social pressures with ease, and because you inject humor early on, she will feel more comfortable and she will feel less pressure. Yeah? And this makes you less threatening. It makes you more approachable. And this encourages women to open up and engage with you. Yeah? Women are drawn to men who can make them laugh. Why? Because it creates positive emotions. It creates memories. Don't you want to be memorable? Inject a little bit of humor. Laughter is a bonding experience. It builds trust, it builds rapport, and it makes her want to spend more time with you. So, one thing that I do always is I use absurdities. Yeah, I love to use absurdities. I love to use playful embarrassment. You know, I love to use witty comebacks. So don't be afraid, and it works, yeah? And so don't be afraid to make fun of yourself or create a silly scenario. Yeah, for an example, role playing and teasing are very effective ways to inject humor into the interaction. And pay attention to the timing of your jokes, though. Yeah, so for an example, after building tension, use humor to break the ice and create a sense of relief. Yeah, and this back and forth dynamic, yeah, this dance that you're dancing with the woman, this is what makes the dance interesting. This is what keeps the interaction alive and engaging. Yeah, so for an example, yeah, let's say you have a dramatic moment. How can you use humor to release the tension? Well, you could say, for an example, and this is very unexpected, I love to use this line actually, is, you know, if this was a movie, this would be the point where the dramatic music would play. And then I start smiling. For an example. Yeah, it's one of the many examples. Be a little bit creative with this. Or you could role play. You know, so when she keeps asking you questions, yeah, for an example, during a date, yeah, she keeps asking you questions. Wow, you are a detective, aren't you? And am I the suspect? Are you interrogating me? Nah, I'm just joking. Anyways, and then you tease her a little bit, and then you go on. And also tease yourself. It's okay to tease yourself. You don't have to act as if you're too cool for school. Yeah, like like for an example, if you're talking about cooking, yeah, well, are you good at cooking? Well, nah, I actually suck. I actually set off the fire alarm every single time that I'm in the kitchen. For an example, yeah, it shows that you are able to take a moment like that and play with it. Yeah, you're not taking yourself too serious. Emotion set number 5, fun. Fun is the energy that makes people want to be around you. It's about being carefree, being present in the now, yeah, not here in the mind, in the head. You're not trying to think about the best thing to say. You're just here, you're enjoying the moment. and you're genuinely enjoying yourself. And fun is contagious. Yeah, it's a very it affects other people. When you are having a good time, other people will want to join in. And it's very logical actually, because from an evolutionary perspective, fun signals that you are socially competent and emotionally healthy. Because in the ancestral environment, people who could create fun, could create positive experience, were more likely to attract allies, yeah? To attract mates. And fun also indicates that you are not burdened by stress, that you are not burdened by negativity. And this makes you a way more appealing dance partner. Now, the other thing is that fun is also a sign of abundance. And when you are able to relax yourself and to enjoy yourself, it shows that you are not desperate for approval or validation. You just don't give a shit. You live in the now and you're a happy guy. You have fun just being you. And this is very attractive. This is to men and women, to everybody who's a little bit social. Yeah, it's very attractive, especially to women, because it signals that you have options and that you are comfortable in your own skin. So women are naturally drawn to men who can create a fun, light-hearted atmosphere. It makes them feel safe, it makes them feel relaxed, it makes them feel open to exploring new experiences with you, as long as it's fun. Yeah, so when you bring the fun, you become the guy that just everybody wants to be around. Yeah, so how do you trigger the fun emotion? Well, focus on being present. Focus on being in the moment instead of in your head trying to figure out or trying to come up with the next question because you have nothing interesting to say. Smile, laugh. Don't take yourself too seriously. The universe doesn't take you serious. Girls don't take you serious. Your friends don't take you serious. So why should you? Don't take yourself too serious. Introduce group games. Introduce playful activities that get people involved. Yeah, show that you are comfortable being yourself and encourage others to do the same. The more relaxed and the more genuine that you are, the more fun everyone will have. Yeah, so for an example, I just said group game. So what is a group game? For an example, you're standing in a social group, you're making friends, you got yourself out of the house, you're into a social setting, and now you're socializing. Guys, I don't like the serious talk. Let's talk about something more fun. Let's play two truths and a lie. I'll go first. The women will get excited immediately. The guys will most likely be like, huh? But the women understand this game and they love it. Yeah, two truths and a lie. Make sure to smile. Make sure to laugh openly. Yeah, if something funny happens, don't be afraid to laugh. Yeah, by laughing, you show that you are relaxed. You communicate that you are relaxed. What else can you do with a group? Yeah, I love to talk about groups more. I bet that I can guess everyone's favorite ice cream flavor. Chocolate, salted caramel, for an example. Yeah, you start out. For an example, it doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't even have to seem like it's the perfect thing to do. You don't care. You're in a social setting, you're out there to have fun, and you are going to have fun. Yeah, but these were just a few options. Look online, Google, fun group games to play in social settings. I can bet you that you will find a lot. And you only need 3. Yeah, memorize 3 of them, and you can go all night. Yeah. Step 6. Now we're going into the depths that you want it to go. Step 6, attraction. Attraction is the moment when she sees you as more than just a fun, emotionally stimulating guy. You are now actually becoming desirable. Yeah, this is where you transition from being entertaining, yeah, with tension, with a healthy mix of tension, humor, fun, intrigue. And now you go a little deeper to being someone, yeah, from being a fun person to actually being someone that she wants to be with. And attraction is built on demonstrating or communicating higher value, higher status signals. Yeah, so for an example, confidence, the ability to provide, the ability to protect, emotional stability, yeah, emotional intelligence, emotional stability. What else? That you are able to realize, how do you say that in English? Waarde. Well, that you realize that you are able to get value and that you are able to share it with her. Yeah? Provide, protect. Because evolutionary psychology teaches us that women are attracted to men who display evolutionary value switches. Yeah, so these are traits that communicate fitness, resourcefulness, the ability to thrive, yeah, to create a life, and to make your life and her life a little bit easier. Yeah, so for an example, confidence, yeah, is a attraction switch. Leadership is an attraction switch. Social proof is a attraction switch. The ability to handle challenges is an attraction switch. And when you, for an example, tell stories and you talk about your life and you make sure that in those stories you highlight these specific qualities, you will activate her attraction triggers. Yeah, and this is where I have to give a shout out to that guy from W or Dating, David D'Angelo. He came with the quote, "Attraction is not a choice." When you communicate the right qualities, you will become attractive. Again, attraction is not a choice. It's a logical thing that just happens from the way that you communicate. Yeah? And attraction is also about making an emotional impact. Yeah, women are drawn to a man who can make them feel a range of emotions, not just a few happy ones. Yeah, no, the entire thing. Yeah, so for an example, from excitement to comfort, from happiness to anger even. Yeah, when you, for an example, share stories that show your depth and your capability as a man, as a human being, you become more than just another guy. You actually become someone that she can imagine a future with. Because women find it irresistible, especially when you communicate in such a way that it promises to her that you can deliver the emotions between excitement and security. Yeah, so the whole range. And when you demonstrate your value, you show that you are a high quality mate who can offer both adventure but also stability. Yeah, and again, that's why I keep pounding you guys. Get your ass out of the house. Go on adventures so that you can have adventurous stories to share. Because Playing Xbox in the bedroom is not going to do it. Yeah, there's nothing adventurous that you can share. There's no stories that you can share. There's no there's no curiosity that's going to be tickled. She's not going to be intrigued. You're going to be unable to create tension. There's no humor because you have not developed the capabilities of injecting humor. You have a shit life, so there's no fun. So there can be no attraction. Yeah, because you're going to have to trigger it. Either by taking her with you on an interesting life path, or, and this is the second best option, by sharing stories that highlight your best qualities. But you're going to have to actually be able to have stories to share. That's why you need to get out there and live life. Yeah? So that you can share stories that highlight your best qualities. And the one way that I personally like to do it is I use transition phrases. Yeah, like for an example, she's talking about something, and then I go, that reminds me of, and then I talk about whatever it is that I want to talk about. My travels to Australia, my time as a DJ, international performing DJ. Tons of stories. Yeah, and that's how you can smoothly introduce your own story instead of waiting for her to finish and then just jump into any story. Yeah, you want it to go smoothly, so use transition phrases. Well, it's actually fun that you just mentioned this because it makes me think of, and there you go. Yeah, so make sure that your stories include at least a few value spikes. Yeah, what are value spikes? Well, moments that communicate leadership, kindness, resourcefulness. Yeah, and when you deliver your stories with confidence and with authenticity, they will do the work. They will do the work for you. So practice them, yeah, and practice being, you have to practice your conversation skills. If you want to become more charismatic, you're going to have to practice. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm recording this in English so to practice my communication skills, my English communication skills. That's what I'm doing. I suggest you do the same. Yeah? And when you practice them, they will start to flow more and better and more naturally, and they will keep people engaged from start to finish. Yeah, so again, use transition phrases. Oh, that reminds me of a time that, there you go. Share stories with at least 1, 2, 3 value spikes. Yeah, leadership, adventure, kindness, excitement, and practice your stories if you need to, so that it's smooth and engaging. Yeah. 7. Appreciation. Appreciation. This is very important. Yeah? Appreciation is about making her feel seen and making her feel valued for who she is as a person, instead of what most guys do. You're so beautiful. You're so hot. Wow, you have such pretty eyes. That's not how she wants to feel appreciated. Yeah? Deeper appreciation is what I'm talking about. And deeper appreciation for who she really is the foundation of comfort and of trust. And it's essential for building a real connection. And again, appreciation goes beyond surface level compliments. Yeah, compliments about her looks, compliments about how she looks. It's about recognizing her unique qualities, things that she does that make her unique. Yeah, and then rewarding her for those unique qualities, for her positive behavior. And this is very important because appreciation signals or communicates commitment and investment. Because women have always needed to qualify, a potential man, qualify you, or whether you would value and would actually support them, especially when it comes to raising children. When you show genuine appreciation, you demonstrate that you are capable of forming strong, supportive bonds. And when you acknowledge her efforts or her qualities, she will actually feel motivated to invest more in the interaction, which automatically deepens the connection and makes her feel special. And I'm pretty sure that you've had maybe a date, or you were dating a girl, and at some point she would ask for validation. It could be anything, like, so what do you think about this and that I'm doing? Like, she is literally asking you to make her feel appreciated. Yeah, she's asking you to validate her, because she wants to feel appreciated for who she is and what she does. Us men, we could care a little bit less about it. It's good when we are appreciated. It feels good, but it's not something that we are really looking for. Women are looking for it more. Yeah, and women can, or are drawn to men who can appreciate them for more than just their looks. So, for an example, when you notice her style, or notice something about her intelligence or her sense of humor, and when you notice it, and you say something, you give her the validation for it, you communicate that you are paying attention and that you value her as a person. Yeah, so how can you trigger it? How can you trigger the appreciation emotion set? Reward her for positive behavior, positive responses. Yeah, so for an example, you compliment her on things like her sense of style, her classiness, or her willingness to take risks. And instead of being too serious about it, use a playful touch. Yeah, you can use, hey, like you can use a high five even, or an arm tap. Wow, that is, you go, girl. You like to take risks, huh? Ah, nice. Well done. What, you have your own online business and you made €1,000 last month. High five. You're going to do great. I can see it in your eyes. You have such passion when you say it. When I say something like that, she will feel way more valued than when I say, wow, you look so hot. You have beautiful eyes. I like your shoes. Can you feel the difference? I mean, that's important, yeah? So how can you get into showing appreciation? Well, you ask qualifying questions. Questions that give her a chance to share something meaningful. And then you can appreciate her for it. And this shows that you are genuinely interested in who she is. Yeah, so for an example, after she says something, you could say, and I like doing it this way, I like going, at first I wasn't so sure about you, but you are actually pretty awesome because of what it is that you do. So let's use the previous example. So you made €1,000 last month with your online business. You go, girl. High five. You know, at first, I wasn't too sure about you. You are actually pretty awesome. There you go. And now she feels pretty awesome for something that she has accomplished. That's how you show appreciation, and that's how she now feels appreciated by you. Yeah, or something a little less deep. Let's take her style for an example. Yeah, you could compliment her style. Like, you have a great sense of style. Not everyone can pull that off. And I can see that the color of your shoes match your nail polish. I respect. For an example, yeah. Or let's go even a little bit more back. When she makes you laugh, for an example, yeah. When she makes a joke, when she tries to emotionally, yeah, she gives you an emotion test in a fun way. She's trying to do some push-pull tactics on you. Give her a high five. Like, you got me there. Yeah, smile on your face. Or you give her an arm tap, like, I didn't see that one coming. That was good. I have to give you 10 points for you. Now she feels appreciated. Yeah, because that's how you show appreciation. Step 8. This is where a lot of guys go wrong. This is where a lot of guys, well, they are afraid to take this step, but it's super important. It's challenge. Challenge is the dynamic that keeps her invested and motivated to win you over. It's about being the prize. Someone who isn't easily won over, isn't easily won over, and who has high standards. That's the mindset that you have to get into. Yeah, I have high standards. When you have high standards, when you sincerely have high standards, you're automatically more challenging. Yeah, you're not so easy. You're actually communicating that she needs to do a little bit of work. And that's what creates a sense of competition, and that automatically creates excitement. When you are able to make her feel all of these emotions, yeah, which, guys, it seems like a lot, but this happens in social interactions just like that, and you then become a little bit challenging, it creates a sense of excitement. It will actually make her want to prove herself to you. And challenge is very important because in evolutionary psychology, challenge, it explains it's how she tests a mate and his value, if that makes sense. Yeah, challenge is a way to test your value. That's why it's so important. In the ancestral environment, in caveman days, women had to compete. They had to compete for the attention of the higher status men, the higher status males. And those men were more selective. And they were a little bit harder to win over. Yeah, when you go up into the dominance or the competition, the competence hierarchy, the males who are up there are not as easily persuaded. They are more selective. They are harder to win over. Why? Because they are more desirable. Why? Because they have more options. So they can afford to be more choosy. So by you communicating that you are more challenging, you automatically communicate that you are a higher status man. Yeah, when you make her work just a little, you make her work for your attention, you communicate that you are not desperate, you are not needy. Yeah, so on the other hand, it automatically communicates that you have confidence and that you experience abundance. And these are highly attractive traits. Yeah, and women are drawn to men who challenge them because it makes the interaction feel more like, it makes the dance more passionate. Yeah, and more exciting. Why? Because now she understands, like, oh, he's not too easy. I'm going to have to put in some work. I'm going to have to put in my most desirable moves to try and persuade him, to try and entice him or seduce him. So it creates a sense of anticipation, a sense of excitement, making her want to chase you more. Yeah, I keep getting the responses underneath videos. Women don't chase. Real women don't chase. Oh yeah, yes they do. They chase the right men. The men who can make them feel as if these guys are a challenge, they will chase them. Yeah. So how can you inject or trigger challenge? Well, you qualify her. And you test her responses. You ask questions that require her to prove herself or share something unique. And use playful frame control to keep her on her toes. Yeah, so first you show interest, and then you pull back a little, and you make her work for your attention. And this is the classic push-pull dynamic that keeps her engaged and motivated to prove herself, to win you over. So for an example, yeah, like you're in the date, you kind of have the feeling that it's on. Ask her, so what's something about you that would actually surprise me? Now, she has to put in some thought. Yeah, and we call this hoop theory as well, yeah? You're asking a question. What's something about you that would surprise me? You're holding up a hoop. When she jumps through it, it means that she wants to qualify and she's actually answering. Yeah, and the more thought that she puts into the answer, the more interesting she thinks you are. Or what else could you do? You could actually challenge her to get you a drink, for an example. Yeah, let's say you're in a social setting. You're standing at you're standing a little bit away from the bar. You could playfully say, "Hey, look, I don't let just anyone buy me a drink, but you know what? I would let you buy me a drink. So let's go. Next round is on me." And then you take it to the bar, and you do it with a bit playfully, yeah, with a smile on your face. You could also dive in, and I'm not going to explain this right now, but for an example, the bait hook reel release concept. Yeah, show interest and then pull back and make her chase a little. Next step, the next emotion set. Connection. This is the step that most men are trying to start with. Yeah, they're trying to make a connection. It's what I hear constantly. Yeah, she ghosted me and I don't understand it because we had one date and I felt such a great connection. Why didn't she like me? Why did she ghost me? Well, because you tried to make a connection before you created curiosity, before you created intrigue, before you created any tension, before you injected humor, before you displayed your fun side, before you created attraction, before you showed her appreciation, before you became a challenge. You tried to make friends, yeah? When you start off by trying to make a connection, she doesn't feel the need to make a connection with you because her emotion set is not triggered yet. So first, you start with curiosity, intrigue, tension, humor. Yeah, you create interest. Yeah, this is all the interest phase. The interest phase of the interaction, and it comes before trying to make a connection, because connection is the stage where she feels truly understood and emotionally bonded to you. But first, she has to be interested enough to want to feel understood and emotionally bond with you. And this is where a lot of guys go wrong, and this is where a lot of guys, great guys, like, you could be the perfect guy for her, and she could be your dream woman. You could fuck it up just by trying to make a connection from the start. It does not work. You're skipping a lot of emotions that you first need to trigger. Because here it's about building trust. It's about building comfort. And understand this, I'm going to say it again. She does not want to build trust, build comfort with a guy that she's not interested in. Because there's so many guys trying to build comfort and trust with her. So she has to first become interested in you and feel excited about you, feel attracted to you. Yeah, so let's say all of that happened. Yeah, and now you understand why it's so important. Now you can go to connection. Yeah, and connection is what turns attraction, yeah, that first initial interaction, that interest and a little bit of lust, into something deeper and something more meaningful. Yeah, this is now, if you can create connection after you've triggered all of these emotions, now you become boyfriend material. And from an evolutionary perspective, connection is essential for long-term pair bonding. Women have always needed to qualify a potential mate, and whether or not he could provide emotional support, whether or not he could provide protection and stability. And when you build connection, again, after you've triggered these emotions first, now you show that you are capable of forming a lasting partnership. Connection is about being emotionally real, emotionally balanced, about authenticity, about you sharing who you are, the flaws, the good, the wrong, the pluses, the minus, yeah? Now she wants to get to know you on a deeper level. So now, when you share personal stories or show your true self, you actually are also able to invite her to do the same. And now you create a sense of intimacy. Yeah, this is what creates intimacy. This is what creates trust. This is what makes her feel safe and valued. And women are drawn to men who can create a deep emotional bond. And when you demonstrate understanding, appreciation, shared values, you become someone that she can actually imagine a future with. So how can you trigger connection? Well, share stories that reveal your background. Share stories that reveal your values. Share stories that reveal life experiences where things didn't go well, but you were able to move it into a positive, direction. Think about comfort building. Yeah? Think about creating a sense of shared adventure. Point out similarities. Point out shared interests. Now you go in depth. Now you tone it down a little bit. Now you show her that you understand her and appreciate what makes her unique and you value her for it. Yeah, so what you can do is, for an example, share a childhood story and then you ask about hers. You can point out similarities. Wow, you really like to travel, huh? Well, me too. You know what? I think adventure is the best way to grow. You're not there yet, but you know you have to score another 10 points and then we can share an adventure together. Yeah? What did I just do? I brought it back up. I used a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun, yeah? Instead of going all deep and going into Mr. Serious. Like, oh yeah, let's explore the deep. No, every now and then you have to go back up and inject the interaction with some fun, with some humor, with some tension. Don't forget, you want to keep it exciting. And again, you only go into the deeper levels, yeah, the levels of where you can try to make a connection and where you share your vulnerabilities after you've triggered these emotions. After, not before. Otherwise, her interest will not be enough for her to want to share vulnerabilities with you, to want to share her childhood stories with you. And you can share childhood stories all you want, and you can share all your deepest secrets with her all you want. If she's not feeling these, yeah, in curiosity, intrigue, tension, humor, fun, attraction, appreciation, and challenge, she's not going to be interested in you. So then she doesn't want to spend time with you. She doesn't want to go in depth with you. Yeah, and that's why I always say, guys, you create interest first, then you move on into the connection phase. So we're almost there, guys. The last, not the last one, the pre-last one. Number 10, excitement. Excitement is the spark of passionate energy. Yeah, that makes the connection goes to the next level. It's about creating moments of anticipation, moments of desire, moments of passion, and then just pushing her away a little bit and pulling her in. Again, like a dance, like a tango, like a very passionate salsa. Yeah, it's excitement what makes her heart race. It's you injecting a little bit desire and then pushing her away a little bit, or danger even. Yeah? Excitement is what makes her heart race and what makes her mind wander. And evolutionary psychology teaches us that excitement is a sign of high mate value. Men who can create excitement are seen as adventurous, as bold, not bald, but bold, as capable of providing stimulating experiences. And these are all very important, yeah, because these are very attractive as it promises both pleasure and the possibility of genetic fitness. Yeah, and excitement also breaks the monotony of routine. Yeah, so when you introduce new experiences, or when you escalate physical touch, you create a sense of novelty and adventure, and this keeps the relationship fresh and engaging. So even if you're watching this and you have a relationship, excitement, excitement. Keep on injecting excitement. I know it's hard to do. Like for me as well. Yeah, right now I'm a father. We have a little one. We hardly sleep. We have no time. We have no time together. Yeah, it's all about our daughter. But I have to be very mindful. If I neglect this part, the relationship will start to feel dull. It will start to feel bland. The relationship will lose its flavor. Yeah, so don't forget, women naturally are drawn to men who can make them feel alive and desired. So, you know, when you create excitement, you become the man that she cannot stop thinking about. Why? Because it's an emotion that makes her feel alive. So how can you trigger it? Well, use role play, for an example, with a sexual frame. It's what you learn in dance classes. Yeah, dance is all about passion. It's all about that sexual frame instead of just moving around a little bit. Especially when you look at, for an example, the higher level salsa dancers, and just go check them out on YouTube. You see them playing with each other. You see the eye contact and the passion, and they come close, and then on the break of the music, they push each other away again, and it's a dance of passion and playful sexualization. That's basically it. Yeah, so don't be afraid to operate from a playful, flirting frame. Escalate touch. Say something daring. When you have a girlfriend, every now and then, even if you're in a long-term relationship, you have to grab her by the puppy scruff, yeah, by their neck, by her hair, look in her eyes and say, you know, if your parents weren't here right now, I would, And then you let go. It creates that dynamic, that passionate dynamic, that magnetic bubble that she longs for. Yeah? So provide it. It will help you keep the relationship alive. Yeah, and every now and then, like for an example, when you are at a party and you have, and I'm going to give you another tip or trick. You're at a birthday party, yeah, and you just start doing the usual talking. Take her, isolate her for a quick private chat. Yeah, you take her into the kitchen. You know, you look so good in that dress you're wearing. I cannot wait to go home. And you look her in the eyes, and you can, make her feel it. And then you go back again. Yeah, but that little moment, it creates something, yeah? It adds a little coals to the fire. And she needs that fire. It is what it is, guys. I speak to guys on a weekly basis who lost their relationship. Why? Because they became bland. Their girlfriend, their wife stopped feeling things. And then that's the moment when Tyrone Thundercock comes about, or when or she meets Kevin from sales. And why did she go with them? Why did she dump her man? Why did she dump you for someone else? Because he could make her feel something that you didn't make her feel anymore. It is what it is. And then you can go like, no, intimate relationships are about feelings and emotions. Whether you like it or not, I too like to say, but you have to make a conscious choice. She can't make a conscious choice if the emotions that she needs to feel to make a conscious choice are not triggered. I didn't make up the rules. You can hate me for it, but it is what it is. And again, I speak to guys on a weekly basis who are going through a fucking breakup. And I tell them, look, you didn't tickle her emotions for a long time now, did you? And they're like, yeah, no, I did it. You're right. Yeah, and now she's gone. She's not going to come back. Even if you're the better option, you could be the father of her kids. You could be married to her. It doesn't matter. If you cannot make her feel excitement, like her emotions are going to make her pull away at some point. It's going to happen. And I see it on a weekly basis with many guys crying on the phone. Their life is in ruins. Hey, and I've been through it myself, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, so understand that this is how emotions work. And it's the emotions that she needs to feel to want to stay with you and not to go with Tyrone or Kevin. So you want to be able to trigger excitement. How can you do that? Well, use role play with a sexual frame. Escalate touch. Say something daring. Isolate her every now and then. Yeah? Touch her. Like when she passes you, just grab her and make her feel desired. It is super important to keep on doing, especially when you have a relationship. Yeah? Now we're going to go into the last one. A fear of loss. Fear of loss. Fear of loss is the final stage. The final stage of attraction. It's the moment when she realizes that she doesn't want to lose you. It's the moment that she realizes, for example, when she is getting to know you and she sees another girl flirting with you, that's the moment oh no, I have to take action. I don't want to lose him. And the simple fact that I now understand that I don't want to lose him makes me want to invest more to keep you. That's how it works. Because a fear of loss creates urgency and it makes her value the connection that she has with you even more. Yeah? I see it like this. From an evolutionary perspective, fear of loss is a very powerful motivator. Yeah? Jealousy is a very powerful motivator. Jealousy comes into play here as well. When jealousy gets triggered, it's basically, you feeling the possible loss. Yeah, it's a fear of loss. Because in the ancestral environment, high value mates, higher status men, were in high demand. Nobody wanted the lower status men. Everybody wanted to mate with the higher status men. And so they were in high demand and they could be lost to the competition. Yeah, so women who acted quickly and to secure a desirable partner had a way better chance of passing on their genes with that higher status man, with that higher status male. Now, and this is something I learned from Mystery. He told me this like years ago. I'm talking about 15, 16 years ago. He said to me, she will know that she's attracted to you when she feels jealousy. So the fear of loss. So what it does is it amplifies the desire. Yeah, because when something is at risk of being lost, it becomes more valuable. It also works it works the same for you. It works the same for me. Yeah, because especially the guys who've been dumped for someone else. Yeah, you lost, and then you tried to get her back. Then you said you would change. Then you wanted to become the guy that she actually wanted, right? So it was also a very powerful motivator for you. Yeah? It's always when the fear of losing it, when there's the fear of loss, that's when things become really valuable. Whether it's you or whether it's her. Yeah, and so you have to understand that it's very important. Fear of loss amplifies, it fully amplifies the desire. And by showing that you have options, for an example, then we go into social proof, be pre-selection. But when you show that you have options and that you are not afraid to walk away, you actually make her want you even more. And it's very counter logical. And a lot of men do not believe when I say it, when I tell them this. But women are drawn to men who are not afraid to move if their needs are not met. Because it signals confidence, it signals abundance, and it signals a high self-worth. When you start chasing, it's actually unattractive signals that you are communicating. Yeah, so how can you trigger the fear of loss? Well, for an example, when you're in a conversation with a group of people, you're in a social situation, you're in a social setting, and you're getting to know a new group of people, and you've been doing what you needed to do, and they are happy that you're there, and the girl that you like is sending indications of interest. Now you inject the fear of loss. You use a roll-off. You start talking to someone else on this side. Now she feels the fear of loss. It's small, but it's still there. You could show a hint of disinterest. You could introduce a little bit of jealousy. Yeah, so for an example, after a great moment, you pull back your attention and you communicate, you show that you also have other options, that you are a social person and that you are in high demand. And how can you trigger it in a very good way, actually, is, let's say you've been talking to this group of people and it had one or two really nice ladies, and now you're talking to this group of people and it has a girl that you actually like, and now you introduce the both of them together. And now see what happens, yeah? It's really beautiful to watch how the women that you like and that like you will start to compete. Yeah, but I would, be playful. Don't make people feel bad. Yeah, don't try to make her feel bad. Just remind her that she is not your only option and that you are not that easily won over. Yeah, so what are some things that you can do? Well, after a great moment, you could say, you know what? I actually should get back to my friends, but this was fun. You know, when I first started talking to you, my first impression was a little bit meh. But now that I'm getting to know you, you're actually fun. For an example, playfully tease. You know, you are trouble. I'm not sure that I can handle you. For an example, yeah. So, and guys, it was a pretty long training. Yeah, it was a master class. I told you at the beginning. The reason why I wanted to do this master class is because on a weekly basis, I have coaching calls with guys. When they have dates, when they're meeting people in general, when they're meeting women, they only focus on trying to make a connection. Yeah, they're only trying to make a connection. You're playing yourself you're swiping yourself away when you do that. That's literally what happens. You're swiping yourself away. Again, I'm going to emphasize it again. connection should only be triggered when you know that there's a sincere interest, when she's sincerely interested in you, when she is attracted. Otherwise, she doesn't care about your life, she doesn't care about your bullshit stories, and she doesn't want to spend or waste her time on trying to become friends with you. Yeah, because that's what this is, trying to become friends behavior, trying to connect. That's what guys do that have no game. And to create that real interest, that real attraction, you have to guide her through curiosity, intrigue, tension, humor, fun, attraction, appreciation, challenge. Yes, yeah, you have to be challenging. Then you go into connection building. You add excitement and you add fear of loss. Now she will desire you. These are all this is like the natural progression ladder of emotions that we as people, women, go through before they feel that real desire. Yeah, and each stage builds upon the previous stage. Yeah, and you can trigger them through your words, your actions, and your energy. Yeah, so I hope you made a lot of notes. This is important stuff. This is what keeps, the lack of this is what keeps you in the friend zone, what causes women to send you the message after a date, I didn't feel anything, or I didn't feel the click, you're a nice guy, and someday you're going to find the right woman for you, but it's not going to be me. Why not? Because she didn't feel this. Mic drop. Fucking hell. Look, every time you try to play it safe, every time you try to play to not lose, then you're playing to not win. You miss the chance to create that real chemistry. And dude, I speak with so many guys, and literally on a daily basis, that I know are amazing guys that could provide a great relationship experience. And I want you to succeed. I'm not saying this for whatever other reason. I want you to succeed. I know you can succeed, but your focus is now on the wrong things. Yeah, you've learned from society that you should play it safe. Well, your bed is empty and your heart is empty, and your nutsack is full. Well, I'm not gonna go there. Yeah, and you have to understand, yeah, that the guys that you think are assholes, those guys are out there using all of these triggers naturally to build genuine connections with the girl that you could have been such a great relationship partner for. But you don't want to go out there. You don't want to take all these steps. You don't want to do that. You want to play it safe. So the women don't have any other choice. They can't choose you because you may literally make yourself unchoosable. Stop doing that. Yeah, don't let your hesitation, don't let your old habits, don't let your negative, non-serving beliefs hold you back. Don't let a few days ago, I had this conversation with another guy. Yeah, but women only like 20% of men. Fuck no. You know why? Why you believe that? Because you don't get yourself out there. You don't put yourself out there. You don't play the game. You don't dance the dance. Because if you know how to dance the dance, she's going to want you. Again, attraction is not a choice. And remember Alex, the guy that I started off with. Once he learned how to communicate in a way that naturally flowed from one stage into another stage, emotional stage. Yeah, once he learned how to lead the dance and learned how to guide the women through these stages, everything changed for him. Not overnight, not over a weekend. It took some time. But he actually became the man that women noticed and remembered and actually wanted to be around. And he now has a very amazing girlfriend. And, you know, it's all part of understanding your internal communication and what you communicate outwards that either triggers these emotions or it doesn't. And if he can do it, you can do it too. Now, if you are ready to master the art of magnetism, of creating a magnetic aura, of becoming that naturally charismatic guy, start practicing these steps today. Yeah, use the actionable steps that I gave you. And share your progress either in the comments below or in our community. Brother, subscribe for more. I'm going to give you some master classes on this channel, unlike you've seen anywhere. I'm going to give it all. Everything from 21 years of learning about communication. I'm going to give it to you freely. Yeah, so challenge yourself to watch the trainings, make notes, and take action. Take action. Well, you have to understand, man, attraction is not luck. It's a skill. If you learn the stages, if you practice the triggers, and watch as real connection and chemistry starts to grow in your life, you will then look back and go like, why the fuck didn't I do this sooner? Yeah, so there you go. Brother, with a lot of love. It was a lot of information. Yeah. But we're going to do this more often. Next Saturday, I'm going to do another of these master classes. Yeah. And I hope to see you next Saturday. And for the ones on our streams here on Instagram, on TikTok, if you want to look back, if you want to go back and watch this training, come to our community. We have an online community. It's free. Yeah, it's free. The only thing that you have to do is send me either an inbox message with the word community, or you leave a comment below the video, community, and I will make sure that you get the link. You can knock on our door. You're more than welcome to come. We have weekly live trainings. We have weekly Q&A sessions. We're going to start an amazing workshop, a weekly workshop as of the 3rd of June. And you're more than welcome to join. It's all free. It's all us putting guys together in one room and grow together. Work together, challenge each other, and support each other. Yeah, that's why we put the community up, and you're more than welcome to join. That was it, brothers. With a lot of love, I will see you in the next training.